The first time I saw Rachel pull a full cucumber out of her purse during a team meeting, I thought it was a joke. She didn't smile. She didn't explain. She just nodded at it like it was normal, like it had always been there, like cucumbers belonged in purses next to keys and lip balm and unpaid parking tickets. I was sitting across from her, holding a stale donut I had already regretted, but was still eating anyway. She looked at the donut. I looked at the cucumber. We both knew something had changed. This whole thing started 3 months earlier, and I know because I remember the exact day. It was the day the elevator got stuck between the 3rd and 4th floor, and Rachel was inside with me, and 2 strangers who smelled like old coffee and bad decisions. Rachel wasn't big. She wasn't small either. She was just normal. She had these soft cheeks with dimples that showed up when she laughed, which was often. Her laugh was loud in a happy way. It bounced around the room and made people look at her even if they didn't want to. She liked bright clothes, yellow sweaters, orange shoes, things that made you think of fruit without trying too hard. That day in the elevator, she wasn't laughing. She stood very still, staring at the numbers that weren't moving. Nobody said anything for the first minute. The elevator made a small, tired noise, like it was thinking about its life choices. Then Rachel said, "I knew I should have taken the stairs." She didn't sound scared. She sounded annoyed, like the elevator had personally betrayed her. The guy next to me said, "It happens." She nodded, but she didn't look convinced. We got out after maybe 5 minutes. It wasn't dramatic. No alarms, no shouting, just a quiet release, and everyone pretending it was no big deal. But I noticed something after that. Rachel started taking the stairs. At first, it was just sometimes. If the elevator was full, she'd say, "I'll take the stairs." If it was slow, she'd say, "I'll take the stairs." Then it became every time. Our office was on the 6th floor. By the 2nd week, she wasn't even looking at the elevator anymore. She'd walk straight past it like it had insulted her family. One morning, I saw her at the bottom of the stairs holding an apple. She looked at the stairs, then at the apple, then back at the stairs. She took a bite and said, "This is my fuel." I didn't know what that meant, but she said it with confidence, so I nodded like I understood. Before all this, Rachel used to eat like the rest of us. Donuts in the morning, chips at lunch, random candy she kept in her desk drawer. She wasn't obsessed. She was relaxed about it. She'd say things like, "Life is short, eat the cookie." But now her desk looked different. The candy was gone. In its place were fruits and vegetables. Not just 1 or 2, a whole collection. Apples, bananas, oranges, baby carrots, cucumbers, grapes. It looked like a small grocery store had exploded in a neat and organized way. She ate them calmly, like it was normal. One day I asked her, "Do you miss chips?" She thought about it. Then she said, "Not really." But she said it slowly, like she was still deciding. The funny thing was, she didn't talk about weight loss. She never said, "I need to lose weight." She never complained about her body. She never said anything dramatic. She just changed her habits. Quietly, but not secretly, because the cucumbers made it impossible to ignore. One afternoon, I walked past her desk and saw her holding a cucumber and staring at it. Not eating it, just staring. I said, "You okay?" She said, "I'm deciding if I'm hungry or bored." I laughed, but she didn't. She said, I used to eat every time I was bored. Then she shrugged and put the cucumber down. That was new. Old Rachel would have eaten it without thinking. A few days later, we went to lunch as a group. We always went to the same place. It had burgers, fries, milkshakes, the kind of place where the chairs were slightly sticky and nobody asked questions. Everyone ordered like usual. When it was Rachel's turn, she said, I'll have the grilled chicken salad. The waiter paused. We paused. She paused. Then she said, and water. Not soda, not juice, water. When the food came, she ate slowly. She didn't look sad. She didn't stare at anyone else's food. She just ate her salad like it was exactly what she wanted. At one point, Mike said, You're being healthy now. She smiled. Her dimples showed up. She said, I'm being kinder to future me. Nobody knew what to say to that. So Mike just nodded and ate his fries faster. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more small things. She walked more. She stretched, sometimes near her desk. She drank a lot of water. She stopped complaining about being tired all the time. Actually, she stopped complaining in general. One morning, she came in smiling more than usual. I said, Good morning. She said, I ran. I said, From what? She laughed. She said, No, like on purpose. That was new. She wasn't a runner before. She used to joke about running only if something was chasing her, but now she was running voluntarily. It didn't make sense to me. Not because it was bad, just because it was sudden. But she didn't act like a different person. She was still Rachel, still funny, still kind, still the person who once ate 3 donuts and said, I regret nothing, even though she clearly did, except now she had grapes in her bag and cucumbers, always cucumbers. The weirdest moment happened on a Friday. It was late. Most people had left. I was finishing something I had been avoiding all day. Rachel was still there too. She opened her bag and pulled out a container. Inside were sliced cucumbers and strawberries. She offered me one. I said, Are you trying to convert me? She said, No, I'm trying to share. I took a strawberry. It was good, better than I expected, she said. I used to think healthy food was punishment. I said, Yeah. She said, Now I think it's just food. That stuck with me. Because she wasn't forcing it. She wasn't pretending. She wasn't dramatic about it. She was calm, like she had made peace with something. Over time, I noticed her energy was different. She moved faster. She laughed easier. She didn't slump in her chair at 3 p.m. like the rest of us. One day, she walked up the stairs while holding a conversation with me and didn't even breathe harder. I was dying by the 4th floor. She said, You okay? I said, No. She laughed. Not in a mean way, in a warm way. She said, You'll get there. I said, I don't want to get there. She said, That's fair. She didn't try to convince me. That was her thing. She never pushed. She just lived differently. And somehow, that made everyone notice more. Then came the suitcase. It was a Monday morning. She walked in carrying a small suitcase. Not a purse, not a bag, a suitcase. Mike said, Are you moving in? She said, No. She rolled it to her desk and opened it. Inside were fruits and vegetables. So many fruits and vegetables. Apples, cucumbers, oranges, grapes, carrots. Mike said, "Why?" She said, "I got tired of running out." He stared at the suitcase, then at her, then back at the suitcase. He said, "This is commitment." She said, "This is convenience." She said it like it was obvious, like everyone should have a suitcase full of cucumbers. I asked her later, "What made you start all this?" She thought for a long moment. Then she said, "Nothing dramatic." She paused. She said, "I just got tired of feeling like I wasn't taking care of myself. That was it. No big event, no scary moment. Just a quiet decision." And somehow, that quiet decision changed everything. Not just for her, but for all of us watching her, because when someone changes slowly, calmly, without making a show of it, it makes you wonder about your own habits. It makes you notice your donuts, your stares, your excuses. I still eat donuts sometimes. Actually, I eat donuts often. But now, sometimes, I also eat strawberries. And every time I see a cucumber, I think of Rachel and the suitcase, and the day she decided to be kinder to future her, and how she never made it a big announcement. She just showed up one cucumber at a time.